Jai Ho students, I am Ratnakar Suryavanshi from SK Public School. In the last two classes, we have learnt about the unification of Germany and the unification of Italy. So today we are going to learn one strange case. The unification of Britain is completely different from the unification process of Germany and Italy. So let's come. We will start to learn a strange case of Britain. The unification process of Britain. About this we will start. Say one important point. Many historians or the scholars, they have argued that the true model of the nation state or a nation is Britain. Many scholars or historians, they argued that the model of the nation or a nation state is Britain. Why they argued like this? In Britain, the formation of nation state was not the result of any sudden upheaval or revolution. See, for example, in Italy or in the unification of Germany, we have learned that both were united, or the process of unification of both those nation states completed because of a revolution or a war. Correct? No? But in Britain, the formation of nation state was not the result of any revolution or upheaval or any war. It was the result of a long drawn out process. Through the long term of process, the Britain was formed as a nation state. It is not formed through any revolution or any upheaval or any war, like how Italy and Germany formed. So Britain became a nation state through the long term of process, through the long drawn out process. An important point, prior to the 18th century, before the 18th century, there was no Britain nation, or there was no British country or British nation. When before 18th century or prior to the 18th century, there was no British nation at all in Europe continent. The primary identities of the people, those who lived or who inhabited in the British Isles, were ethnic ones. The people who lived in the British areas or in the British, those were actually called the people who were inhabited in those areas. They were identified through their ethnic compositions, and that too, those people were inhabited in the British Isles. Isles means what? Small islands. Small islands were called as isles. In small islands, people used to live, and they had their own ethnic composition. They had their own different language, such as English, Welsh, Scot, as well as Irish. English speakers were there. Welsh, Welsh, it is a language. Welsh language speakers were also there. Scottish language speakers were there. Those were called, that language is called Scot language or Scottish language. And even Irish speakers were also there. In those small islands, they were identified through these languages, through these ethnic composition only. Those who lived in the British Isles or in the British small islands. And all of these groups had their own cultural and political traditions. Each group had its own political as well as cultural system, or cultural system of each group is different, as well as political situation or political system or tradition of each ethnic group is different, was different. And then see, but important point, but as the English nation steadily grew in wealth, importance and power, day by day, gradually the English nation began to grow in terms of political power, in terms of economy, in terms of wealth, as well as in terms of importance. Out of these other languages or out of these other people, English began to grow. So through the growth of English, it was able to extend its influence over the other nations of the Isles. Welsh were there, Scot people were there, as well as Irish people were there. So on them, On them, the influence of the English was extended. Why it was extended? When English got more importance, political power, wealth, or other things, then it was able to extend or impose its power or its influence over the other nations of that isles, other nations or other ethnic groups of those small islands or small British islands. So at the end, important point here, at the end of a long-term conflicts, at the end of protracted conflict or conflicts in 1688, English Parliament seized power from the monarchy. When English Parliament got power from the monarchy in 1688 Common Era, that too after protracted conflicts, after a long term of conflicts with monarchy, British Parliament or English Parliament seized, captured power from the monarchy, from the kings or queen, actually queen's rule in British or in Britain. And the important point, as I told you, that in 1688, English Parliament seized power from the monarchy. And then see what happened. This is the beginning actually. This is a beginning to extend British power, British will over the other small islands of that isles. And then it was just the instrument, it was the way. Getting power or seizing power from the monarchy in 1688 by the British Parliament or English Parliament, it was the instrument, it was the way, technique or medium which a nation state with England at its center, came to be shaped or came to be forged. When the English Parliament got power from the monarchy in 1688, through this only, a nation state with English or with England at its center, at its power, came to be forged, came to be shaped at that time. And even the Act of Union of 1707, between England and Scotland, that resulted in the formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. See, the Act of Union of 1707, it was signed between Britain and Scotland. So, according to the Act of Union of 1707 between England and Scotland, what happened? As I told you that according to this, there was a formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. United Kingdom of Great Britain was formed according to the Act of Union of 1707 between England and Scotland. And it enabled this act, the Act of Union of 1707 enabled England to impose its influence on Scotland. When, according to this Act of Union of 1707, England become able to impose its will or its influence or its power or its own interest on Scotland. And even the British Parliament was dominated by its English members. Both the countries were there according to the Act of Union in the British Parliament. Both means England was there as well as Scotland, but the British Parliament or the English Parliament was mainly dominated by the English members. Majority members were English and very few minority members were Scottish. So this way, English Parliament was dominated by its English members. And the growth of British identity in Scotland also, after the Act of Union of 1707, in Scotland also the growth of the British increased, or the influence of the British increased. So the growth of the British identity British power in Scotland suppressed Scotland's distinctive culture as well as political institutions. Political institutions were also destroyed as well as culture, unique cultures or unique culture or what we call special or very important cultural activities or the traditions of the people in Scotland were successfully or completely suppressed as the British identity grew in Scotland. And important point, the Catholic clans, as you all know that in Christianity there are two important sections or sects. Those are Catholic and Protestant. First Catholic and then Protestant. So the Catholic clans or the Catholic families that lived in the Scottish Highlands, the Catholic clans, those lived in the Scottish Highlands. Then Highlands means you know that mountainous areas. For example, Glasgow city, you might be know about this. Glasgow city, it is there in the Scottish Highlands, I mean Scottish mountainous areas. So the Catholic clans that lived in the Scottish Highlands, they had suffered a lot. They had suffered terrible repression. They experienced terrible suppression, terrible torture or repression whenever they asserted their independence. Whenever they claimed their independence, those Catholic families or Catholic clans lived in the Scottish Highlands, all those were suppressed by the British. And even see, the Scottish Highlanders were forbidden to speak their Gaelic language. Then commonly, Gaelic means what? The Indo-European languages were called as Gaelic languages. Indo-European languages were called as Gaelic languages. So, they were forbidden, I mean they were banned, they were not allowed to speak in their Gaelic languages. For example, I am telling Welsh as well as Scottish language, Breton language as well as Irish language. Welsh, Scot, Breton as well as Irish, these were the important Indo-European languages. These were called as Gaelic language. So, the Scottish Highlanders, I mean those Catholic clans lived in the Scottish mountainous areas or highlands, those were not at all allowed to speak in their regional languages. Those are called as Gaelic languages. Even they were forbidden from wearing their national dress. And large number of people were forcefully driven out of their homeland. Large number of those Catholic clans were forcefully driven out, thrown out of their homeland. So, in this way, Scotland became the part of Britain. In this way, Scotland became the part of Britain. So, one more nation became the part of Britain. That is Ireland. Ireland also had a similar fate. I mean, same situation. Ireland also faced the same situation from the Britain, and later it became the part of Britain. So in this way, unification of Britain was completed, and it is a strange case. Why? Because there was no war found. There was no war fought in the unification process of Britain. So how Ireland became the part of Britain, we will learn in the next class. Thank you. Jai Hind.